Imagine a man so massive that horses couldn't bear his weight. Rollo, they called him, and if you lived in Europe during the 9th or 10th century, that name alone was enough to send you running. Now, Rollo wasn't just your average Viking. Sure, he had the muscles and the battle scars, but there was something more to him, something that made him different. Born in the cold, rugged lands of either Norway or Denmark, nobody's really sure where, Rollo had a hunger, not just for food or for ale, but for power, for fame, and for something that would outlast him. From the very beginning, he wasn't just looking for the next raid, he was looking for something bigger. Now meet Harald Finehair. This dude is king of Norway. Under him, Rollo started his career as a raider, but he was tired of taking orders, quickly realized that there was more to be had than just loot. And when the opportunity came to sack Paris in 885 CE, Rollo didn't hesitate. But he wasn't just there for the spoils, he was there to make a point. He was there to show the world that Rollo wasn't just another Viking. He was the Viking. And then there was Charles. King Charles the Simple, as they called him, a name that didn't exactly inspire fear. But don't let the nickname fool you. Charles was a man caught between a rock and a hard place, a ruler with a kingdom crumbling under the weight of endless Viking raids. Desperation was his constant companion. The Vikings were tearing his land apart, and his soldiers were tired, beaten, and outmatched. So Charles was a kind of sus king, not like the ones you hear about in legends. He was more of a thinker, a man who knew that sometimes brains could beat brawn. But here's the thing, Charles was out of options, and he knew it. His kingdom was on the brink, and he needed a solution fast. But instead of picking up a sword, Charles picked up a quill and sent envoys with an offer that would change everything. You see, Charles wasn't just trying to save his kingdom, he was trying to survive in a world where brute strength usually won out. So, in a move that surprised everyone, he decided to negotiate with the very people who were burning his lands. He offered Rollo something more valuable than gold or plunder, a chance at something permanent. Charles proposed a deal. In exchange for Rollo's loyalty, his protection of the Frankish kingdom, and his conversion to Christianity, Charles would grant him a vast stretch of land along the northern coast of France, what we now call Normandy. This wasn't just a piece of land. It was an opportunity for Rollo to carve out his own legacy, to rule a domain of his own. To the Vikings, this was the ultimate betrayal. Rollo, the mighty raider, was selling out to the very people they had spent their lives plundering. He was turning his back on their gods, their way of life. But to Rollo, this wasn't betrayal, it was strategy. He wasn't just thinking about the next raid, he was thinking about his legacy. By accepting Charles's offer, Rollo secured his own kingdom. He became the first Duke of Normandy, and his lineage would go on to produce some of the most powerful rulers in history, including William the Conqueror. Rollo didn't betray the Vikings out of weakness or fear. He did it because he understood something that many of his contemporaries did not. Power isn't just taken, it's built. And sometimes that means making deals with your enemies. In the end, Rollo's so-called betrayal was a masterstroke of political genius. He didn't just survive in the cutthroat world of medieval Europe, he thrived. And in doing so, he laid the foundations for a dynasty that would shape the future of the continent. And history? Well, history proved him right.